Hello, I'm Charlie, lovely to see you and welcome to Jewellery Maker. Getting started with polymer clay. I'm very much looking forward to this today because I for one think this is such a wonderful way of making jewellery. And I am so lucky to be joined by our in-house guest designer, Debbie Bolford. And Debbie Bolford is the expert when it comes to polymer clay. So there is no one else I would want here with me right now. Debbie, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, it's a pleasure.
So polymer clay seems to have taken Jewellery Maker and the world by storm, and it's such an enjoyable way of making jewellery, isn't it?
It is, because you can have something completely bespoke, completely unique. You can mix the colours to match an outfit. It can be for any age, any time of year.
Excellent. And for anybody at home who's thinking, well, what on earth is polymer clay? What would you say is the easiest way to describe this particular way of making jewellery?
Well, it sounds very technical, but polymer clay is a non-toxic craft material. It's little particles of PVC mixed with a plasticizer and then with a pigment. So when you bake it, the plastics stick together, basically.
Excellent.
So, but it is non-toxic.
So great one to get the kids involved with.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. And we're going to do sort of a step-by-step show today on the basics of what you'll need for your polymer clay, so the tools that you're going to need to get it started with, and then of course Debbie's going to be here to give us some demonstrations, and we're all going to learn together because I for one haven't seen some of the demonstrations that she's going to be doing today, so it's going to be so much fun. As always, Jewellery Maker is going to make this affordable for you, so perhaps you wanted to start the new year with a new jewellery making hobby to add to your repertoire. Well, I tell you what, you've arrived at the right place today. Debbie, I think a good place to start off with today would be with the starter kit. What do you think?
Absolutely, because it has everything in there that you need. Everything to get out on your table, besides a tile, something protective on your work surface when you're cutting with your blades. That's the only added thing that you need. But it has everything in there for you, absolutely everything.
Wonderful. So it's sort of the one-stop shop for you to start with your polymer clay. So we put everything into this very neat plastic container for you, and I have to say, I'd be lost without these because they keep me nice and organised. You can imagine what my house would be like without it. And we're going to start it with the two types of clay that you get in the starter kit. We're starting with black and white. And Debbie, these are two classic colours that I think you would recommend anybody who is starting in polymer clay to start with.
Absolutely, because when you first start with polymer clay, black and white you can't go wrong with. You really can't go wrong with. They're good for using as spacers, but don't forget they're good as mixers as well to change the shades of your other polymer clays. And polymer clay is about combining lots of different colours together if you want to, isn't it? So yes.
Get the two basics, and then you can build upon. Just like in fashion, black and white, you can never go wrong, can you? What you're going to need as well to roll the surface of your clay is a little roller. And this comes in the kit as well. We also provide you with two of these. Are these the acrylic sheets?
Yes, they have a protective coating on when you first have them, but they are clear acrylic sheets.
And that is much better than putting it just on the kitchen table, isn't it? Because you would hate to get a bit of grease on your clay, or... Well,
the acrylic sheets are only used for shaping your clay.
Ah, so you wouldn't roll your polymer clay on the acrylic sheet?
No, not at all, because if you left the polymer clay on those for more than half an hour, they would start to eat into it.
Ah, so we're going to be learning these little tricks on the way. So for shaping your polymer clay, you've got two acrylic sheets. For rolling your clay, you've got your miniature roller and your black and your white clay. Now, we've also got the clay blades, okay? And you've got them in 4 different shapes here. What's the benefit of having the 4 different styles, Debbie?
Well, you've got the corrugated blade there.
Yeah.
For making patterns and designs.
Wonderful.
You've got a flexible blade which is used in various designs to cut out different shaped pendants. You've got your stiff blade which is good for slicing canes. And the last one is actually a rubber guide that you put over. It's like a shield. Put over the sharp edges of your blades, so when you put them in your craft box you're not going to put your fingers in and cut yourself.
I'm so glad that we've got 4 different blades there, because that allows us to be really creative, doesn't it?
It does.
Fantastic. So you get 4 of those. And then we've got the different cutters. Now, I remember you telling me once that to buy these cutters, if you went to a cake shop or something like that, it can actually cost you quite a lot of money, specifically to get the smaller ones.
Yeah, the smaller ones I haven't seen anywhere else at all. Normally you have to have a straw and then it's difficult to get out the other end.
Yes.
They're perfect for doing the holes for bales.
Wonderful. So you've got lots of choice there with the different sizes as well. And then finally, what are these, Debs?
They're sanding pads.
Okay.
Now, I will warn people, these are wet and dry sanding pads. They are not to be used dry because they will scratch your designs.
Okay.
Put a little tub of water, submerge your design, put your sandpaper in and rub, and then buff onto a cloth. Do not sand those pads dry because you'll ruin your designs.
A little hot tip there. Wonderful. So as you can see here, you know, these are tools that you're always going to use. You can then, once you get the hang of the polymer clay, you can then start adding different colours into the mix. But I'd say this is probably everything that you need, isn't it?
Absolutely. There are little add-ons that are extras, but yes, absolutely. And the box is of a particular quality that you can store your polymer clay in. Always look out for a slightly opaque box with a number 5 on the bottom with a recycling triangle around. Now these don't have them, but I know for certain they're definitely the right type of plastic.
Okay. And why is that? Just keeping it the right sort of moisture, or?
No, it just means a lot of plastics will react with the plastics in the polymer clay, so they will start to eat in, and you'll end up with a mucky mess at the bottom of a plastic box. It will just completely melt.
So don't use a box that you get from your local takeaway. Use this one. All right. This is a Jewellery Maker Sculpey Clay Toolkit, and there are 2 ways to buy with us today. We have a free phone number, which is a very rare thing to find these days, 0800 644 655. Or, of course, you can buy online. Don't forget all the W's.jewellerymaker.com. And honestly, we have got a brand new website, and I have to say I'm a bit of a technophobe when it comes to the computer, and even I can work out how to buy on Jewellery Maker website. It is so easy to use. So we're going to bring on that price today, everything that you need to kickstart your new hobby. Fantastic, £17.95, and you are away into the world of polymer clay. If you're thinking, well, I want to buy it, but I'm not quite sure what to do with it, am I going to buy it and then be left on my own and not know what to... No, Debbie's here for the next hour. So Debbie is going to step us through, step by step, how to do polymer clay. Lots of different techniques, all using the starter kit today. £17.95, and you get to get the black and the white polymer clay, the roller, the acrylic sheets, the sandpaper, the cutters, 4 different blades here, and that very handy box that I tell you what, you're going to be lost without it. And don't forget, you have your 30-day money-back guarantee. We call it a no quibble money back guarantee, because what that means is if you want to send it back, if you change your mind for whatever reason, which is your every right to do so, then you get your money back within 30 days. 4 to 5 working days on delivery, and 1 postage and packaging. Oh yes, 1 postage and packaging for everything that you see here of only £2.95. Debbie, if you look at these components and you look at the price today of £17.95, I mean, you must have shopped around and seen what else is out there and the prices. How does this compare?
Oh, it is excellent.
Yep.
It really is good. I mean, I've priced up 1 or 2 of the kits. I haven't actually priced up that one, but looking at the prices there, it must be probably half the price.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Must be half the
and
price.
you know, these are top quality components, you know, absolutely incredible, and they're going to last you a lifetime, aren't they, when working with the polymer clay?
But the quality is there, the quality is good. Really
fantastic.
Good.
Absolutely fantastic. £17.95. We're going to bring you a lot of little extras that you can add to your polymer clay, and of course the first demonstration coming up rather soon, which I'm rather excited about, because I think Debbie's going to show us a new technique that I haven't seen before. Oh, wonderful. You can buy the black and white in bulk, so we're going to do that now as a wonderful opportunity. I have to say, if you bought that, I wouldn't mind getting the larger black and white in bulk, because it's something that we always need, isn't it? Right. The problem is, a lot of people say to me, is once you start making polymer clay, you can't stop. And there is nothing worse than running out of the clay itself, because then you've got to wait for delivery, and then it just, you know, you're in the flow, aren't you, creatively with your design. How long would something like this last you, Debbie?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, obviously
me.
It depends what you're making, but...
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many hundreds of pendants and hundreds of beads you'll make out of those.
Really?
And whenever I do workshops,
wow.
The ladies always scrabble for those at the end of the day. They suddenly realise how much you use and how useful it is to keep in your stash.
Well, it's funny you say that, because my lovely producer, who, because I present the Late Show here on Jewellery Maker, Deanna said that she popped into one of your workshops on polymer clay and said to the ladies on the course, what would you like to see more of? And they said this size of the black and the white. So, it, you know, it really is something that's in demand, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, we've got an amazing, amazing price, because to tell you what, it's all about affordability here at Jewellery Maker. Your price tonight for the black and the white, the essential colours when it comes to polymer clay. 2 colours I can guarantee that you are not going to want to run out of, are available on the free phone number with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Your price today is £26.95 for both of these. For both of these at £26.95. That is a one-off payment, black and white. You know, monochrome is massive at the moment, isn't it? So if you just wanted to stick with black and white, then the world is your oyster. But of course you can bring other colours into the mix, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show. Is this something that you always have at home, Debbie?
Oh yes, absolutely. I'd be lost without them. I'd be lost without them, yes.
Would be lost without them. It's like your little black dress, you'd be lost without that, wouldn't you? You know, £26.95, fantastic, and lovely to see you there. And of course we're going to be getting to know Debbie a little bit better now and having a look at some of her designs. Debbie, what do you think should be the first thing that we're going to do?
We're going to learn how to shade our polymer clay.
Okay.
How to take the black and white and actually get a shade into it.
Oh.
So rather than just using it as monochrome, we'll get a nice grading of white, grey and black.
I have to say, the first time I saw polymer clay was probably about end of last year with you,
yes.
wasn't it? And I was completely and utterly shocked that you could mix 2 colours together. It was amazing. And you're probably thinking, what are they talking about? But we're going to show you now. It's, yeah,
absolutely
phenomenal.
Right, I'm going to do a technique called the Skinner blend. This was invented by somebody called Skinner.
Funny that.
Amazing. And it starts off very, very simply. I'm going to use this clay roller that we have here. Now, it isn't an essential part of your kit. Once you've used it, you will not want to be without it.
Yes, so I hear.
Yes, you really won't want to be without it. It gives uniform sheets of clay, so you know exactly every time you put your clay through the machine, it's going to come out the same thickness, which is essential when you're making your polymer clay designs. Okay. So, here is the clay roller.
And we're bringing on the graphics for that just now. There you go, clay rolling machine.
That's right. And what I've done is I have put through the clay roller some white and black clay, and I'm going to be using the roller in a second. And I have made it into a square by putting a triangle of black and a triangle of white.
Okay.
Now I've left a little bit of an edge here with the white, because when I fold white to white, I want that to stay white, otherwise that would go grey.
Okay.
So when I fold it over, that little bit there is going to go white onto white. So what you need to do is you fold it over like that, and you put it into your clay roller now with the fold down. This is the only time you ever put your clay into your machine with the fold down. Usually you say that is an absolute no-no because you can trap air.
Okay.
But you keep doing it the same direction over and over again.
I tell you what, having the roller just makes life a little bit easier, I think, as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It just takes the time out of it. You can use your little acrylic roller if you want to, but it would take a lot longer.
Okay. And how does £14.95 in terms of price compare? Because I know certainly I've done some research for clay rollers and I was seeing prices much higher than this.
Yeah, I had a roller before I joined Jewellery Maker that was between £30 and £40, and there are some on the market the same sort of price. So this is extremely good. And it's the same quality. I mean, these are used in my workshop by all sorts of different people, so you have, you know, everyone uses it in a different way.
Yes.
And they're
But that's
fabulous.
quite a saving, isn't it? £40 compared to £14.95.
Absolutely. Now, you can see there, I won't do it anymore, but you can go until it is completely faded in if you wanted to. You can see a little faint stripe there. But I'm going to leave it like this for this technique. So I'm going to put that onto my tile, and I'm going to put a sheet of white over the top. Doesn't matter that it's messy, it doesn't matter because I'm going to cut it in a second. So I put a sheet of white over the top, and then I'm just going to neaten this back edge and put to one side.
So that's using the cutter from your
blade.
Kit.
That's right.
Lovely.
I'm using a flexible blade. You can use the stiff blade if you want to. It's just personal choice, really. And then I'm going to put that on top, and then do it again. Slice it, and put that on top. And you will find that you will have a striped. If I pick that up, just 1 second. Put that the other way around. That's it. That way around. I'm going to do black to white and white to black. Now you can have a stripe like that. You see that? Where you've got white going to black and black going to white, or you can have it all going the same way, where you just have grey to black. It's up to you.
It's about having a play, isn't it, and seeing what the outcome works for you.
Now, how do you make the beads?
Good question.
Put those to one side. So I've taken a couple of slices from this cane that I made earlier, and put the 3 slices together as a square. All right? And then taken scrap clay, which was the leftovers of what I cut off the edge of my earlier cane, and made into like a little sausage. All right? Just like that. Right? And I'm going to place that on the middle of my striped rectangle. And then just roll the edges around. Doesn't matter if they come apart, because you can push them all together. And even if you go over the top, doesn't really matter. So I'm going to now squeeze until all the edges I can feel are smooth, like that. Now I want to now pinch the ends off to take away all the scrappy bits at the end that aren't very tidy.
Okay.
You pinch them together. I'm going to use this acrylic sheet, which you'll see in a second out of our baking tray, and I'm going to flatten one end and flatten the other end.
And would you recommend using that as opposed to using the roller, the acrylic?
You can use the small sheets if you want to, but the reason I'm using this is because it's longer than the small sheets. This is good for doing bangles and what have you as well.
Wonderful.
So there you have your very long sausage with stripes on it. Okay, and now you can start to do your design. Doesn't matter which end you start. Start to coil it and coil it and coil it until you have your bead. And then with the baking tray, you have these wonderful sharp pins.
So the baking tray is something that you would use once you've made your design?
Exactly.
Wonderful,
exactly.
wonderful. We'll bring on the graphics for that, everybody.
Superb. And there is your beautiful bead.
Reminds me of a licorice all sort.
Yes, absolutely. And you can see some different colourways there as well. But all you would do now is take that pin. If I can bring the baking tray in.
Yes, details on the screen there.
There we go. This is the baking tray, which is so useful. And that goes onto your baking tray, and that is baked in the oven. Now this baking tray has various holes to lay your pins along.
So you can actually bake a lot of designs at the same time?
When I do a workshop, I've had 3 of these in a little camping oven, and I bake hundreds of beads. Hundreds of beads.
Brilliant.
You can place pendants on the base if you want to. If your pendants are slightly larger or longer, you can use this hole here, or that's quite useful to rest bangles on or something that you don't want pressure marks. And you also have here a cutting guide that if you want a 45-degree cut through your cane, perhaps you want to cut a black cane and a white cane and then just put them together like 2 triangles, you can use these as a guide for your blade.
So would you always recommend putting, is it the needle, did you say, or the pin?
The pins?
Through it, as opposed to just laying it on the bottom of the tray?
Yes.
You would get the pressure marks.
Put the pin, yes, put the pin through. If I had pendants, it wouldn't matter because the back of the pendant wouldn't be seen.
Okay.
And you sand most of the things anyway. But
for your beads.
That's it. Beads are perfect, especially lots of round beads. And with it also you get this large acrylic sheet. Do remember when you receive your baking tray, this will be in the base of your baking tray.
Yes.
Please take it out because if you bake with this, it will melt.
So you get the baking tray, the acrylic sheet.
And you get a little tub of pins.
Wonderful.
These pins here.
And all for £9.95. I'm quite shocked by that, actually.
I am. I mean, the replacement to these are sort of £7.95.
Really? Oh, well, there we go. Grab it while you can. An acrylic sheet baking tray, and of course the pins in there as well. All comes in your Jewellery Maker box as well, £9.95. And don't forget, it is a free phone number to join us today on 0800 644 655, or buy online at jewellerymaker.com. And with everything that you buy, you have your 30-day money-back guarantee, 4 to 5 working days on delivery, and that 1 P&P. How long do you cook it for? Bake it.
Yeah, it's all right. Same thing, really.
The chef is coming out of me there. The chef is coming out.
Right. I would say, if you're new to this, I would take something like this and bake this for 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
For every 1/4 inch, just over 5 mil, I suppose I would bake it for 15 minutes.
Okay.
So if you have a thicker bead, you're going to have to bake it longer than a thinner bead. But I would probably bake it at 15, 20-minute intervals.
Okay.
Rather than bake it for half an hour and it's scorched.
So can you open the oven and take a peek and it's not going to...
But one thing about baking is, when you bake it, it only blends the plastic together. It will not go hard until you take it out the oven. It will be soft for about 20 minutes.
So it's got to really cool down.
It's when you cool it that it goes hard.
Okay.
Okay. So
Wonderful.
There's your first project.
And then we've got different colours here, haven't we?
Have
with the same effect.
Yep, exactly the same effect. You've got the red and yellow at the end, and then white put in between. And then you've got purple and white, and I've put like a sagey green in between those.
Just lovely. Something you'd want to wear on your summer holiday, I think, with a lovely maxi dress or something.
Yes.
The end one reminds me of a lovely starfish, sort of coral colours. Yes, it does.
Yeah, it is really.
But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? It can be quite a modern, contemporary look, and people can interpret it in different ways.
You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want.
Look at that. I mean, those colours are sensational, aren't they? Absolutely sensational.
Thank you.
And all of the polymer clay colours that you'd like to have a go with are all on the website as well at www.jewellerymaker.com. Just lovely. But I have to say, I don't think you can go wrong with the black and the white.
Absolutely
I think classic.
Not.
Absolutely classic.
Not.
Lovely. Are we going to do another demo or...? Oh, wonderful. Do you know what? We have got another exciting demo, but just have a look at this first.
Add to your collection with our Sculpey Clay Basics DVD, full of handy tips and hints for all levels. Join guest designer Debbie Bulford as she teaches us how to create basic canes, kaleidoscope canes, bead shapes and much more. To get your hands on a copy, phone our call centre now on 0800 644 655.
You can now keep in touch by liking Jewellery Maker UK on Facebook. Get interactive with Jewellery Maker.
Welcome back. I'm Charlie and this is a lovely Debbie, and we are running you through how to get started with polymer clay. So we brought you the starter kit, we brought you the details for the baking tray and the clay roller. What are we moving on to next then, Deb?
We're moving on to something very exciting, the extruder.
Yes.
I love the extruder. This is a fabulous, fabulous little machine.
Seems to be everybody's favourite, isn't it, really?
It is, I think, yes. This is the extruder. That's very good fun for children as well as adults. If anybody does paper craft, you'll find this very useful as well. And with it in it, you get all these cutters.
This is where you get to be really creative, I think, isn't it?
Oh, yes. If you make little animals and bears, you can do your hair with some of these cutters. You can do your bezel surrounds with some of the ovals. You can do all sorts of different designs. I know you can do, if you want, at Easter, you can do little chickens with the feathers on their hair. You know, you can do a Christmas with the Santa's beard. You can do all sorts of little things. So it really is useful, and children love this.
Wow.
And so do adults.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. I have to say, we did this with my goddaughter recently, and I literally don't think she said a word.
No.
For hours.
No. It's nice you get a little box, because normally you don't get a little box with these extruders. But you can keep everything in neat and tidy.
Oh, fantastic. Well, there we go. So you're going to show us how to use the extruder.
I am
Wonderful.
indeed.
And we're going to bring on the price for the extruder as well, and when it comes with the 20 different discs there.
Right. It has a threaded bar that goes through the centre, and the top handle you wind to give yourself room to put clay inside. Okay, so you then have the piece that fits on the end, but to make your designs you can then choose your different cutters. I'm using my all-time favourite, the square, only because it's easy to demonstrate and it can fit together very, very easily. See that?
Okay.
It's got a square cutter, so that just pops inside the bottom of your extruder. Right, to do this I will quickly put together some different colours. Now I've chosen from home some colours that I happen to have at home, and I've chosen some denim blue, some rhino grey, ecru, white, I think that's burnt umber and black. So there's black and white in there again, you see.
Yes, lovely.
That just makes it pop again. It's just really good to use those colours up. So I'm just going to put these now into a tube. Now to cut these, I've used one of the cutters from the starter kit. and it's just one of the tiny cutters that is just slightly smaller than the size of the extruder. So I know that when I put these together, these are going to fit in, all right? So I'll quickly grab some colours. I won't do very much of this, but you'll see.
Does it matter how many you pick?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
You can fill the tube if you want to, but really, you don't need to. Very, very quickly, grab these designs.
And I think just, you know, pick colours that you really love. I think that's always quite a good...
Yeah, well, I just love blues. I love blues and browns. I wear them a lot. So I've chosen those. Right. Now remember that the last colour that you put on the end of your tube of colours, the very last colour I put there, will be squeezed at the outside of your cane.
Okay.
All right? So if you want your design to have the partitions in between the squares, and you'll see what I mean in a minute, to be a certain colour, make sure that colour goes right on the end.
Okay.
So that then is fed into your extruder, pushed in, there we go, and the end is then screwed onto the
So
bottom.
looking very easy so far.
Very, very easy.
Wonderful.
I'll put that to one side. Now this will squeak. I haven't had an extruder yet that hasn't sounded like a mouse.
Right.
So wait for the squeak.
Okay.
But do not oil it because you don't want the oil to go down.
A squeak is a good thing when it comes to your extruder.
Here we go. It's just hit the clay. I can feel it. So it might squeak when it gets to the end. It's proved me wrong now. You watch.
Maybe it's gone shy.
You know, it's never happened before. Wow, that's fantastic.
Silence is golden for the extruder
Wonderful,
today.
Wonderful. So I've just pulled that off the end just with my nail and put that to one side. If for any reason you cannot then open your extruder, sometimes it forms a vacuum. There are two little rubber rings, one either end.
Okay.
And within the extruder pack, you get an extra one. Don't think you have to fit that. That is like on an old vacuum cleaner. You used to have to fit it when it wore out. So that's just a spare for you in the kit. But if you do have a problem and this will not undo, take the handle off, get a pair of pliers and hold the threaded bar and just turn, and it releases the vacuum, and then you'll be able to undo it really easily.
Okay.
And that's happened with every one I've ever had, so it's not just down to this one. Right, so now you have a very strange looking tube of clay. You can see the black has just gone up the outside.
Okay.
And I'm going to take my blade and cut this in half. And you'll see that inside you've got the different colours. But the more I cut, I'm just going to pop that back onto the tile. The more I cut, I'm going to cut the end off. The more I cut, you'll see the colours change. And you've no idea what colours are going to be in one end.
And I think this is where the magic happens, Debbie, with polymer clay.
Because you've no idea at all. So I'm going to cut this in half again.
I love this.
So I'm going to turn that round because I don't want two of the same colour, because those are the two centre ones that I cut first. And now you can build your cane to be whatever colour you want it to be, really.
Wow.
Okay, like that. Right, so how did I go from this to making the pendant? I took a piece of clay of a coordinating colour in case there are any gaps, and if I put that down on my tile and start to slices off, I just cut one off just to neaten it. You get used to slicing the same size slices. If you're nervous about slicing, the way to do it is to rock the blade. Okay. Look over the top of the cane and rock from side to side and make sure that as you're cutting it, it's the same either side.
Okay.
All right, so you rock the blade. So there's another slice and another one.
And of course that blade from the starter kit, and we've brought those graphics back on for you there, $17.95, and you get 4 different blades in the starter kit.
So there we go.
That's lovely, isn't it?
So then you start to build up your design however you wish. These are quite nice actually if you have a few left over. If you've just got 1 or 2 squares left over, to just cut the little squares and pop a little eye pin in them and use those as your tags on the back of your jewellery.
Oh, lovely.
So you've just got a little square. So there's one more to finish it off.
I think I found, when I found polymer clay, saw it for the first time with Debbie,
Turn that round.
what I couldn't get over was how different it was to anything I'd ever seen before.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people say that, don't they?
Absolutely, they do. They can't believe that you can get all these patterns out of the clay.
Yeah, wonderful.
So I've now got my square of clay, and I've put on my lovely extruded pattern. And I'm going to pop some very expensive thing here called cling film. Not at all. Always have cling film near you when you're doing your polymer
some of that
clay.
at home. I think that'll be all right.
I'm sure we have. And the reason I use cling film is that you can roller the top of your design, you can rub it with your fingers, and if I was to do that without the cling film, the colours would smudge and the pattern would move. So you can rub and rub and rub and rub the surface of this without it moving anywhere, but you are flattening it and making it all nice and everything's knitting together. All those lovely slices are now knitted together. The only one thing I would probably do to finish it off is using our acrylic sheet again, is just press it and make sure it's
the acrylic sheet from the
flat.
baking tray that we bought you earlier.
Absolutely, or use the one from the starter kit if you wish. And we'll take that off, that's nice and flat.
Look at that. Piece of artwork, isn't it?
Okay, so I'm going to now take my cutter from the starter kit and I want this pendant to be a little bit thicker. So I've got a couple of sheets of clay here in the dark chocolate brown that coordinates with my design, and I'm going to put that on top. To make this a nice rounded edge, I'm going to put the cling film back on the top.
Okay.
Take my cutter and really press hard. It's actually sometimes is easier to put acrylic sheet on top because that can hurt your hands sometimes.
That's a good tip.
So press that really hard. And the reason I put the cling film on is that it pushes the design down the side of your clay. I'll lift that up. Can you see it's actually pushed it down the side?
Very neat, isn't it?
Very, very neat, very, very tidy. And it's a nice way of getting a very smooth, very lovely piece of jewellery, really.
And you use that blade again from the starter kit just to
lift it off,
yes,
because when you're pressing so much it can stick to your tile. So just use that as a lever, just to lift it off your tile. But then you just pop a little eye pin in or a piece of wire, as I have done with the pendant over there. And there's your beautiful piece of jewellery when you've baked it. And you can bake it with the eye pin in.
And I think lovely as well, you know, once you get the hang of it, your friends could say, well, I love these colours, and you could mix those colours together for them and make them a lovely present, couldn't you?
Absolutely, and with the offcuts, don't forget, the bits that you've actually cut out, if you've got the little charm cutters, you can then cut your little charms out of here, especially if you've got, there's not much around there, but if you had quite a bit more, you could cut your little charms and make bracelets to match and earrings to match.
And to put the hole through the centre of the pendant, you do that with the pins, the needles, don't you, before baking?
You can either put a hole through the front of the pendant to actually put a piece of cord through, and I'll use one of those little cutters at the starter kit, which are perfect. Or you can use a piece of wire that's twisted around your round nose pliers or an eye pin and just push it into the top of your pendant, bake it, and it won't come out.
So multiple different ways then?
Absolutely.
So you're not limited, that's fantastic. And of course, details on your screen there for the bead baking tray, which we really highly recommend, $9.95. We'll be back after this with another demonstration.
Add to your collection with our Sculpey Clay Projects DVD, full of handy tips and hints for all levels. Join guest designer Debbie Bulford as she teaches us how to create the Skinner blend technique, how to use the extruder tool, how to make a 3-part necklace, and much more. To get your hands on a copy, phone our call centre now on 0800 644 655.
You can now keep in touch by following Jewellery Maker on Twitter. Get interactive with Jewellery Maker.
Welcome back to Get Started with Polymer Clay with me and Debbie Bulford. Debbie, some great demonstrations so far.
Thank you.
But there is still a lot more we can do.
Oh, there is so much you can do with polymer clay. I'll be here all weekend, really.
Oh, that's all right. Then you can stay.
Just say that.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get on to sparkly things.
Oh, I like sparkly things, Debs. I like
sparkly things, don't we? Yes. And you can see this is well used. You've got a nice full pot there.
Oh, yes, you won't get a half-empty one.
No, this is well used. Right, we're going to now put some sparkle onto our polymer clay, okay? So I'm going to take a sheet of polymer clay that I've popped through my clay roller on the thickest setting, which is number 1 on this one. You'll have to watch that. If any of you've already got one at home, if I say the thickest setting, some of them can be 9.
Okay.
But on this one, it's number 1.
Okay,
all right?
Wonderful.
So I'm going to pop my polymer clay in the middle of my tile and take some of my lovely flakes. Now, a tip with these, don't just tip them on and rub them in, because you'll end up with lots of powder and lots of gaps.
Okay.
So you need to take your flakes and actually push them into the clay.
What
Don't
beautiful
rub.
autumnal colours, aren't they?
Aren't they gorgeous?
Gorgeous golds and
stunning. Yeah, they really are. You can see why they use
they're very
quite
your
a lot.
colours, aren't they?
Oh,
Very Debbie Bolford.
They are, I'm afraid.
Sorry, I had to get it in there.
Sorry,
Sorry,
you had
Debbie.
to say it sometime, didn't you? I was waiting for that.
Oh dear.
So I'm going to put on as much as I possibly can. I want to cover just about all. So I've got down here to little flakes. In there, you'll find some really big sheets of
and it's so
foil.
lightweight, isn't it? It does feel fabulous when you're working
but
with
don't
it.
sneeze. Don't take the top off and cough or sneeze, because it will just go everywhere, which has happened. So there you go. I've pushed my foil into my clay. All right, like that. And now what I want to do is take my foil and put it through my pasta machine. Now the reason I'm doing that is I want it to crack. And if any of you ever did interior design a while ago, I used to have crackle medium that you'd put onto your old furniture to make it crack and look old.
Yes.
That's a similar look.
Okay.
So I'm going to put this through my clay roller, and I'm going to put it through on a thinner setting, probably a 4 or a 5, just to make sure that it squashes the clay quite a bit more than it is at the moment. It makes it a lot thinner. So when I put it through, the clay will start to crack, and I'm going to move it one more gauge up. Oops, one more gauge up to about a 7.
Well, this sort of aged look in jewellery is very on trend, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Very
the
on
vintage
trend.
look is definitely on trend.
Wow, look
now,
at that.
I don't know if you can see that has started to crack. See that started to crack? And I could keep going with this. You can see that huge sheet there. Could you pass that piece of jewellery here? This, I started off with a tiny square, about 4 centimetres by 4 centimetres.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up with a sheet not far off the size I've got here, because eventually the more you do it and the more you do it, the more it cracks. So you get this lovely vintage effect, all right? So I'll put that to one side. Let's just use this one as it is. And it looks almost like leather when you put it through.
I was going to say,
like
it's really sort of changed the appearance of it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really lovely. So I'm going to put this on top of a piece of scrap clay. Okay. Now, this is just some scrap clay that I've made into...
So never throw away any clay?
Never. This is the one hobby that you never, ever have any waste.
Good, that's what we like to hear.
Waste.
Is it only £5.95 for the flakes as well?
Yes, and they
That's
last and they last.
isn't it?
This has been to at least half a dozen workshops, and everybody's helped themselves, you know, and that's 10 at a time. So everybody's helped themselves, and it's lasted and lasted.
Wonderful, that's what I like to hear. £5.95 details on your screen there.
So I'm going to cut out, using my cutter from the starter kit, I'm just going to cut a circle, all right, from there. Move this to one side, and I'm going to lift that off. And I'll place that on top of my scrap clay.
So you've built the foundation for that pendant with that scrap clay?
Exactly, and you can choose whatever shape you want, to be honest with you. I've also got a piece of black, which I'm just going to cut out the same cut out the same size, to press quite firmly. There we go, better. And again, lift it off with my blade, and to neaten it, I'm just going to turn that over and put the black onto the back. All right, it doesn't matter if you've got a gap, and I'll show you how to get around that. If I take something that's so simple like a cocktail stick,
I'm sure I can find one of those around the house.
I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. Don't panic if suddenly you get your pendant and you think, oh my goodness, there's gaps, there's no way I'm going to be able to push that together. Take your cocktail stick, push the excess clay in and pinch it together. Now that's a big gap there, and you probably think I'm never going to do it, but as soon as you push it together...
The cocktail stick's a bit of a lifesaver there then, isn't it?
It is really. That or the end of a knitting needle or a pin or something like that. And you can just go all the way around, and eventually that will all knit together. Now also, I don't know if you can pick up, I've got a bubble. See, I've got a bubble?
Oh yes.
Just like wallpapering, if you've got a bubble, take a slice and just press the air out.
Okay.
And that slice will just be lost. Now to neaten the edges of this, you need to take your roller,
which is in the starter kit on this screen,
and just roll around the edge where they meet, where the two clays meet, and that just flattens the edge. Okay, Makes it nice and neat. Now pop it back onto your tile, and then you can start to do the finishing touches really. You start to roller it, you can then make it into a different shape if you wanted to. What if I wanted to make it into a heart shape?
Oh,
you
yes,
can start to make it into
it's
a
very
heart.
malleable, isn't it?
It is, exactly. So now you can start to do whatever you like. Doesn't matter what shape it is. And again, if you pop a eye pin or a piece of wire in the top of the clay, bake it, and then you've got your pendant. One other thing I have done there is, yeah, that's done in exactly the same way.
This is interesting.
That's done as a hollow pendant.
Okay.
But the one that's on the design, on the stand there, I can show you how to do a hollow pendant actually if you wish.
Oh,
it's
lovely.
I've put some clay around, and all you would need to do...
Oh yeah, you framed it, haven't you?
That's right. All you would need to do is take some clay that you have left over and literally wrap it around and make a loop.
Okay.
And that's it, and you can make your own bail if you wish. But if you want to see the hollow pendant, very, very quickly...
And I'm amazed as well, you know, we have really just stuck to the components of the starter kit, and you've used everything in there. It's fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's amazing how far it will go. And I used a smaller pack of black, and I must have used about, 3/4 of it with all these demonstrations, so not very much.
It's going to last a long time though,
absolutely.
Isn't it?
So to do a hollow pendant, take a cutter, place your design down on top, like that.
That really does look like material, does it, in terms of cloth? It's bizarre, isn't it?
No, this is very, very thin, so hopefully it will work and won't collapse. We will see. Place your base clay over the top. Usually you'd flip it over, but I'm a bit worried that it's going to collapse being so thin. So turn that over. Whoa. It's just started to go.
Oh, beautiful.
Whoops.
Polymer clay just allows you to be so creative, doesn't it?
Yeah, can you see how soft that is?
Yes, yes I can.
Now, normally it used to be a bit thicker, but if I get my little cutter to the centre, famous little cutter, and then you push it in, making sure it doesn't go pop, and lift that up. And the reason that one is curved is I baked it on the side of the jam jar.
Ah, that's a good idea.
Just to give it a bit of a curve. So there you have a hollow pendant that is very, very light.
Really lovely. I was going to say I'm amazed by how lightweight this is.
Yes.
Lovely.
Lovely to
absolutely
wear.
Gorgeous.
There you go. So there's some different ideas with your foils.
And what would you do with the rest of this clay?
Right, with the rest of the clay I would probably use the little charm cutters. Perfect for charms. Absolutely perfect for charms.
I love these.
And if you've got some foil like this, fold it in half so you've got foil on both sides.
Okay.
Okay. And then use your lovely little charm cutters to cut your designs. So let's see what
I mean, you've got so many different shapes and sizes here. We've got triangles, sort of a teardrop, hearts, stars. I love the flowers, I must say, and the ovals, lovely.
Oh, they are. They're all lovely. I've got a little heart here. So all I would do is just use your little cutters just to cut out your designs. And if they do get stuck, just use a little cocktail stick to push them out. And there you've got your little flowers.
Oh, that's so cute.
Okay, and then you can do a little charm bracelet or something.
Yes.
With the flowers, hearts.
Some little earrings,
you name
or
it.
something.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just lovely. And all for £4.95, the 12-piece clay cutter set on 0800 644 655 or buy online at JewelleryMaker.com. Don't forget, 30-day money-back guarantee. And also, if you start watching the show regularly on Jewellery Maker, Debbie is one of our regular guest designers, so you're always around, aren't you? If anybody wants to get in touch with any questions.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely.
And Facebook is always quite a good way of contacting any of our guest designers as well if you want any hot tips. $4.95. I think that's fantastic.
Brilliant.
Sport for choice today, aren't we, really, with all these amazing deals? I love it. Well done, Debs.
Thank you. Thank you.
We've got something to show you, and then I'm going to be back with a few little extras, which I think are going to be fantastic. I think you're going to love.
Join guest designers Debbie Bulford and Rachel Norris to explore the endless possibilities of combining polymer clay and wirework. This DVD includes a bubble necklace, a heart-shaped pendant, the leaf technique and a butterfly pendant. Advance your designs and fuse your talents together with this amazing DVD. To get your hands on a copy, contact our call centre on 0800 644 655. Get creative with Jewellery Maker.
You can now watch clips from Jewellery Maker on our YouTube channel. Get interactive with Jewellery Maker.
And welcome back. Lovely to be here with Debbie. And we're now going to go on to gleams.
Yes, we are.
Which are wonderful.
They are. They're stunning. There are various things that you can put onto your polymer clay. You can put all sorts of glitters, mica powders, but gleams are stunning if you have something that is baked and you suddenly think, I wish I'd have put some sort of highlight on it.
Yes.
And this is stunning. It is like antiquing wax.
Okay.
So you can put it onto your designs and you might think, oh, they look a bit dull. Leave them to dry for about 20 minutes, buff them up with a soft cloth and they will gleam. They're absolutely, that's why they're called gleams.
And it really accentuates texture as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yes. They're to be used on texture or around the edge of things, or around bezels, somewhere where you want to highlight something.
Okay,
so they're
wonderful.
Stunning.
And lovely colours as well, sort of copper colours, bronze and the silver, just lovely.
That's a perfect combination.
And you only, am I right in saying you only do need to just use just the smallest amount? I mean, you can build it up in layers if you want to.
Well, I'm really surprised actually that they're in such big pots, because they will last and last and last you forever. They really will.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. £8.95 and it's going to last you forever. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
0800 644 655. You cannot complain. I mean, this is about making starting a new hobby really, really affordable. And I think we've done that, from the starter kit to the roller, you know, to the extruder, all really affordable. And this, the finishing touches we're going to show you, just is like the icing on the cake with the cherry on top. It's lovely.
Absolutely. Right, now I have made a pendant already, ready to put the gleam onto.
A bit of a blue Peter moment then.
Yes,
here's one I made earlier.
Yes. But to show you how I did it, I've put this clay through my clay roller and I folded it in half. Now the reason I folded it in half is if you ever use anything with a texture, whether you use the texture sheets or an antique button or anything at all, sandpaper, whatever you use to get your texture onto your clay, make sure you have it double thickness, because when you press, you're pressing through one thickness, you're making it thinner. So I'm going to take one of my texture sheets that I have here, that's one of the Lisa Pavelka texture sheets off the website, and I'm going to press it. Now you need not to roller it, because it will move, it will sort of snake across and you'll get a shadow. So you need to really push, holding it with one hand, push really hard. I mean, stand on it if you want to, or put a heavy book on it, but you really, really want to push that texture.
And these Lisa Pavelka stamps on our website, everybody raves about them.
They are superb. Beautiful. They are, to be honest with you, they're not the cheapest, but they are the most cost-effective for me. I've had some before that have been a lot less than this, but they've cracked after a time, they've dried out after a time. Now these you can screw up into a ball, you can put resin into them, you can put jewel enamel into them, you can put them in your dishwasher if they get really horrible, and they come out as new. So they're a good investment. And I love the flowers. They're beautiful. The patterns that they have here, I mean the selection is just incredible. I've got a whole box of them down here, but the selection is incredible of all the different designs, and they are superb. So I've chosen one design here. Now I quite like it just black on black actually, but there's a lovely design there, which has the flower. Can you see that? It's almost like an Art Deco design.
It is, isn't it? And that's £8.95. Everybody's details on your screen.
Okay. Now that's exactly the same pattern that's on that pendant. Could you pass it to me?
Of course.
Now I have the gleam in my pocket. And the reason I have the gleam in my pocket is that they have to be warm to use them.
Oh, Debs, you're so prepared. I love it.
I've had these in my pocket for ages. They will not work if they are cold. They will just be solid, because they're like an oil, they just go solid. So I've had these in my pocket just to melt them, really. Okay. Don't put them in the oven, for goodness sake. I didn't mean put them in the oven, melt them like that. But just to keep them warm, really.
Yeah, don't put them in the microwave.
No. Put them in your airing cupboard or something for half an hour or whatever. So we have in this pack, we have gold, we have a brighter gold. Lovely. And we have the silver. So let's do all three, really. Shall we?
Yes, let's do all three.
Now these are still quite solid, but because I've only had them in my pocket for about 10 minutes.
£8.95 for all of them. Okay, all of them. £8.95.
Oh yes. going to start off at the bottom. These won't give you a shiny silver, gold or bronze finish. At the moment it will look really matte. Can you see that looks quite matte? But you need to leave that to dry for 20 minutes and then you buff it off. The smell.
I was going to say this.
Oh, isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah, really unusual.
It's like old-fashioned shoe polish.
I was about to say old-fashioned furniture polish.
Yes,
yes, it is.
Isn't it wonderful? I love it. I love it. Yes, you'll find the presenters in the corner sniffing all the.
Don't give all the secrets away, Debs. All right.
So there are the two colours. Okay, there are the two colours. You've got the gold and you've got the silver, and now I'm going to put the coppery
You've used
colour
hardly any at all, so I know what you mean about how long it's going to last.
Oh yes, it will last and last and last.
I wonder what your favourite colour is, Debs.
Copper.
Could it be this one going on now?
Yeah, absolutely, copper.
Oh, that is fabulous, isn't it? Absolutely
Now, because I've
fabulous.
still got the colours on my finger, I'm just going to sort of rub them together.
I was going to say, what happens when you merge them all together? Does it...
I think it's gorgeous.
Oh, look at that.
So you can go from the copper at the top right through to like an, or not a silver, but you see the different grading? Now that looks quite matte at the moment, but if you leave it, as I say, for 20 minutes and you can buff that up and it comes to a real shine. It reminds me of the old fireplaces when you used to put the gilding wax on the fireplace and you buffed it up. It's superb. So that is a lovely way of getting that finish. And it's almost like a waxy finish. It's beautiful.
How much should you put on? Like, could you build it up layer by layer, or...?
You could. In fact, you could leave that to dry, buff it up, and if you don't like it, just put another layer on. Or just keep putting colours on top. You could mix it with mica powder.
But do it gradually, because if you put
Exactly.
too much on and you don't like
it will go into the pattern. Now, I've put a tiny bit on because I don't want it to go into all the crevices.
Yes.
And if you push too much with too much on your fingers, you'll end up losing the pattern. Now, if you put this on first and then put mica powder on, it's almost like using a glue, and you get the brilliance of the mica powder. But this is stunning. This looks almost vintage.
I've got to be honest, I've got to get those stamps and I've got to get those gleams. That is just stunning.
Beautiful. Beautiful, isn't it?
Absolutely
Really,
stunning.
really lovely finish.
Really, really gorgeous.
Very nice.
And do these gleams, do they work up against any colour of the clay?
Yes.
I mean, they work very well with black,
I've
don't
chosen
they?
black because I knew I was having the gold and silver. Yes, they do. These look stunning on chocolate colours, even on ruby reds to put the golds. And think about different times of year, you know, Valentine's, you could put the gold onto the red, and Christmas the silver and green, and you can use these any time of year, and we have loads of other colours as well on the websites, I know. But I think these particular ones will be your stash. Do you know, we all have our stash of certain black and white gemstones or black and white clay, and then we have our standard gleams and accessories, but silver, gold and bronze will go with all your findings.
Oh, yes, very good point,
Yeah.
actually. If it's silver or yellow gold or even
Or your
rose gold,
yeah,
it's going to go
perfect.
superbly with that copper, isn't it?
Yeah,
Even your
it
pewter
really
will
will.
work with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Really good.
And all of these available for £8.95. Now, if you missed the beginning of this, don't forget you can get involved on 0800 644 655. Did you know, Debs, it's a free phone number?
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
I know, not many places offer you that. And also, it's free to buy on the website, which is brand new and always worth checking out. www.jewellerymaker.com. Colourful thoughts? I think food for thought.
Yes,
Love that expression.
I think so too. I think so too.
£8.95. And don't forget, if you need to get the the baking tray, the clay roller, the extruder, the flakes, please do so as well. Those flakes would look gorgeous with the gleam, wouldn't they?
They would actually. They'd
Can you
actually
put them
stunning.
together?
Oh yes,
Of course,
yes, of course you could. Yes. Actually, one tip. Can I just say with the baking tray that I forgot to say it's important.
Oh yes.
If you put that in your normal oven, and you're going to be cooking food in the same oven, can I suggest that you put your baking tray inside an old roasting dish or something, and then make a tent of foil over the top. There are no toxic fumes, and if you burn it, the fumes are not toxic, but it's like burning the toast, it's not very nice.
Okay.
And if you put this in the oven and somebody comes to the door, or the phone goes and you forget about it, you do not want burnt clay in your oven. So keep it contained with foil over the top, and then you don't worry about it then.
And also, I don't know whether I'd cook it at the same time as my roast chicken.
No.
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 No, I just don't think I'd try that. We'll be back after this. See you in a sec.
Jewellery Maker are proud to present our new range of Lisa Pavelka border moulds. Make incredible polymer and silver clay border designs to embellish your creations quickly and easily. Each mould contains 4 different borders which give a wide range of textures and patterns. Use alongside our crafting foils and textured stamps to add a different dimension to your clay creation. To view a full range of Lisa Pawelka products, visit our website.
Wow, where's the time gone? Getting started with polymer clay, and we've seen some incredible designs of how to get started with the lovely Debbie Bulford. And we're now going to do a quick recap. And I think this is essential, actually, because I think we've demonstrated there, you know, you need so little to get started with polymer clay, and the results are absolutely extraordinary. The starter kit is everything that you need to get started with your polymer clay. When I first started seeing polymer clay at the end of last year, it's all I bought and haven't been able to put it down. And we kick it off with the 2 colours, as you've seen with Debbie over the last hour, the essential colours, black and white. You can then later on go onto our website at JewelleryMaker.com and introduce some other colours into the equation, of course. And we also, in the starter kit, include the 4 clay blades. Some are more flexible than others, and of course, you've got what I can't think of the word. Corrugated blade as well. So you can get nice and creative. You've got a lovely, neat little roller. I have to say, I much prefer using this in a rolling pin, much easier. And of course, you've got your
sanding pads
as well. And what have we got to do? Remember, we've got to use these with a little bit of water.
Yes, otherwise you will scratch things.
Exactly.
Yes.
So always keep a little, you know, a cup of water next to your polymer designs. And of course, the handy acrylic box, handy plastic box for it all to go in as well. And all for £17.95. It's a one-off payment on the free phone number and on the website as well. You've got your 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you do need to send it back for whatever reason, you can do so. I must stress as well, we actually have, as well as our free telephone number, it's a UK-based call centre. And they are absolutely some of the biggest Jewellery Maker fans ever. They make so much jewellery themselves. So if you ever get stuck with any questions at all, please feel free to ask them. And if they don't know the answer, then they'll navigate it to somebody in the team as well. But that telephone number again, 0800 644 655. If you run out of the black and white clay, you're going to feel like you're kind of lost, you know? So I'd recommend that you buy the next offer. And it's the Super Saver offer on the black and the white. It's a bit of a trade deal, I'd say, on the black and the white clay. Essential colours that you're always going to need, white and black. This is something that if we run out of stock of, I just feel like everybody just feels completely and utterly lost. There is always such a big demand for it, so I'd say buy it now if you can. £26.95 for both, not just for one but for both, on 0800 644 655, bar online at JewelleryMaker.com. And as well, don't forget to check out our Facebook community. We have 12,500 people on Facebook, and our jewellery making fans stop lots of ideas. So if you ever get stuck on polymer clay or you want to share an idea, then please do have a look on the Facebook page as well. Debbie's on there.
I am, yes, we all have new guest designer pages on there now, so yes, if you have any questions, please ask.
Debbie Bulford, and I'm Charlie Vernon. I'm on there as well. Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Well, you know, we've given you incredible tips today, but if you ever want to ask a question to the lovely Debbie, she's quite often on the show because she's our regular guest designer. But if you do want to catch up with her on Facebook, please do so. £26.95. But if you can't get enough of Debbie Bulford today and you want her in your living room with you, then I've got a great opportunity. And we're going to do all 3. Yeah, okay. So we're going to start with edition 1. Now, I have to say, I for one would have been lost without my DVDs, because I'm someone that likes to work with something visually. I like to be able to fast forward, rewind and pause and work at your own leisure. Debbie Bulford in your living room with you, £4.95. This is Get Started Sculpey Clay Basics, and everything that you need, and it's an hour in total, isn't it?
It is, yes. It's got about 6 projects on there, taking you through the most important 3 basic canes that are in nearly every design.
Wonderful. Then we have the Sculpey Clay Projects Edition 2, so that takes it up a level.
It does. It starts to work more with colour and design.
£4.95 again. Colour and design. Wonderful. Okay, so grab the starter kit with that first DVD and then take it up a notch to this. £4.95 only on that free phone number. That's edition 2. But I have got one more up my sleeve. This is Polymer and Wire Fusions project. This is going to be very popular.
That was a fantastic one to make with Rachel Norris.
Okay.
And we do 6 projects, and she does her wonderful wire work.
Okay.
There's some fabulous things on there. The butterfly is stunning that Rachel's made. And obviously we mix the polymer clay and metal together.
Wonderful. I think that's so handy, isn't it? £4.95. Well, it's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Debbie.
Pleasure. And
do keep in touch, 0800 644 655. And I hope to see you and your polymer clay designs very, very soon indeed. But as I say, do catch up with us on Facebook and the website. And I think I just want to go and make a pendant now, please. Yeah, should we do that?
Shall we?
All right then. Bye.